Have you ever noticed someone who quietly leaves a party long before everyone else? Not because they felt rejected, but because something inside them simply said, "That's enough." Or maybe you've experienced it yourself. The conversation was pleasant, nobody offended you, you even laughed a few times. Yet the moment you stepped outside and the noise faded away, you felt an unexpected sense of relief. Why? Why can one person spend hours surrounded by people and feel energized, while another walks away feeling mentally exhausted, even after a perfectly enjoyable evening? Most people think they already know the answer. They assume those people are shy, lonely, socially awkward, maybe even antisocial. But what if every one of those assumptions misses the real reason? Because psychology suggests something far more surprising is happening beneath the surface. And the answer has very little to do with disliking people. Imagine walking into a crowded room. Conversations overlap. Music fills every corner. Laughter echoes across the room. While everyone seems caught up in the excitement, your attention quietly drifts somewhere else. You notice a forced smile that disappears too quickly, a voice that sounds cheerful but strangely tense, someone who laughs half a second later than everyone else. Without realizing it, your brain is collecting tiny pieces of information that most people never consciously notice. Here's where things become fascinating. Psychologists have found that some people naturally process social environments much more deeply than others. Instead of filtering out background information, their brains absorb emotional signals, facial expressions, tone of voice, and subtle changes in behavior all at once. Think of your brain like a computer running dozens of hidden programs in the background. From the outside, everything appears normal, but inside, enormous amounts of information are being processed every second. Eventually, every powerful system needs time to cool down. For these people, solitude isn't running away from others. It's where the brain quietly recovers. But that's only one layer of the story. Most people believe happiness comes from spending more time around more people. Psychology tells a different story. For many highly reflective people, the brain responds far more strongly to meaningful connection than constant interaction. They don't necessarily want fewer relationships. They want conversations that actually mean something. Think about the difference between chatting about the weather for 20 minutes and talking with someone who asks a question that makes you rethink your entire perspective. One conversation drains you, the other stays in your mind for days. If your mind works this way, understanding these hidden psychological patterns is the first step to mastering them, which is exactly why we explore these behavioral insights every week. By subscribing, you're simply giving your brain the space to understand itself just a little bit deeper. Because being alone doesn't simply give your mind a break, it gives your brain permission to organize itself. Neuroscientists have discovered that during quiet moments, a system called the default mode network becomes highly active. This network helps you process memories, understand emotions, imagine future possibilities, and strengthen your sense of identity. It's almost like cleaning a cluttered room after everyone has left. Nothing new enters, yet everything suddenly becomes clearer. This may explain why your best ideas often appear during a quiet walk while driving alone or sitting silently with a cup of coffee. But perhaps the most remarkable change happens somewhere else. People who regularly spend time alone often become exceptionally good at recognizing patterns in human behavior. Not because they possess mysterious intuition, because their brains have spent years quietly collecting details. Imagine sitting in a meeting. Everyone smiles as a new proposal is presented. But you notice one person briefly tighten their jaw, glance toward the floor, and slowly fold their arms. 10 minutes later, they're the first to disagree. To everyone else, their reaction seemed sudden. To you, the clues appeared long before the words did. It feels like intuition. but neuroscience describes it as advanced pattern recognition built from thousands of tiny observations your brain has stored over time. The quieter your surroundings become, the easier those invisible patterns are to notice. But this remarkable strength hides a trap that even highly self-aware people often fail to recognize. And this is where everything quietly changes. When solitude becomes your only safe place, the brain slowly stops using it to recover and starts using it to avoid discomfort. Reflection gradually turns into overthinking. Peace quietly becomes isolation. The danger isn't spending time alone. The danger is forgetting to come back. Healthy solitude prepares you to reconnect with the world. Unhealthy isolation slowly convinces you that the world no longer understands you. They may look almost identical from the outside, but psychologically, they're completely different. So if you've ever chosen a quiet evening over another crowded gathering, preferred a long walk instead of endless small talk, or felt more like yourself in silence than in noise, maybe there's nothing wrong with you. Maybe your mind simply works differently, because the true power of solitude isn't escaping the world, it's finding the clarity to truly return to it.